I'm so glad to have the both of you here and in person.
Yes.
It's been a really intense year and a half.
That was a nice way to talk about it.
Right.
And I look up to the both of you so much. You know, you're big sisters to me, you're movement leaders, you're gangsters. But you're also like folks that I literally call like when I'm having a joyful moment, but also when shit's going down. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask y'all, like, it's gonna be a year since Freedom Summer, and a lot of shit went down. And how are you doing? Like, how are you feeling?
I feel good because I thought it was gonna kill us. What was great about it is we were prepared for it in a way, like as much as you can be, because we've been organizing for 7 years.
That's right.
And so there was a movement to meet the moment.
Yes.
And there was, I remember when everything started popping off, and it was just like constant, and I felt overwhelmed, and I talked to you about it. And I also recognized that we have to rest later. Like, we have to move everything. The world cracked wide open, right? You know, I got into that Lovecraft Country. You know, that was my thing.
I'm obsessed.
I know.
I'm obsessed.
We needed it.
We needed it.
That.
But remember, like, when Hippolyta was literally holding that the break
portal
open, the portal open. Like, I feel like that's what was happening. A portal opened, right? And how the whole community had to rush in to save D, right? To save our black future, right? Like, that's what was happening. But it wasn't Hippolyta. It's George Floyd's spirit holding it open, and Breonna Taylor. And so we didn't, you know, you talk about me for this. We didn't have a right to our rest in that moment. Like, it's go through the portal, save the future, put everything you can in, and we can rest later. So I feel really good about not giving ourselves rest, about the amount of energy and love and imagination that we gave, and that, you know, we're transforming budgets and policy and the way that people think about black people. And all of a sudden, you know, we spent 7 years trying to argue with people about why we have to say Black Lives Matter, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, Black Lives Matter, right?
We talk about this concept of safety, but what does it actually look like and feel like? And we got to collectively imagine that and put it into practice in a way that I've never seen. What is safety? Like, what does safety actually look like? And we got to do that together. I was talking to Angela about this, Angela Davis, and she was like, I never thought in my lifetime that I would hear people talk about abolition and defund at the popular public sphere. That it would be a conversation in the news media that people are figuring out and talking about. And so it's just powerful because so much of that work happened here in Los Angeles. And so much of that was led by your courage and the team's courage here.
Remember, we used to pretend like we weren't, had to pretend like we weren't. Defund the police, because this is a budget issue, right? And now we are talking about abolition. Yeah, we kind of just mean abolition.
What about you, A?
I'm okay. I mean, I'm feeling hopeful in a way that I don't feel like I've felt in a while. In reflecting on last year, there was a lot of times when I just felt like, wow, we're growing. You know, like, we're growing. Like, there were things that would have tripped us up before. That folk were just like, you know, just kept it pushing, you know? And so I really appreciated that. Yeah, it was also a lot of full circles. Like, I kept feeling like, oh, this cycle is closing and a new one is opening. And one of those actually it came around defund. And people freaking out, and I was like, oh, actually, we've been here already. We've been here already. And we know now you can hear what's underneath for folk, but you cannot capitulate.
Yes.
You know, and so that is something that I've been feeling really good about. But also, you know, and the hand wringing and this is gonna lose the election for the Democrat. You know, I was like, it's not actually.
Right.
It's not. I was like, what is happening right now is that millions more people are taking up the responsibility of bringing forward and getting in the middle of that portal and holding it open, right? And seeing that that's their role. I just remember when activism wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't cool to say,
Remember?
I'm an activist, or I'm an organizer. You know, now everybody activist. I'm an activist. And you're like, okay, you know. And, you know, at the same time, it was also weird for me. I didn't go to one protest last summer.
Wow.
Really?
Not one, honey.
Tell us.
I wanted to be in movement in a different role. And I just made a commitment to myself, just like around this concept of rest. What I wanted to do was lean into what I thought was on the other side of protests, right? Which always happens. You have this ebb and flow.
Yes.
And when the protests die down, you always get that conversation about, well, what rules are you changing?
That's right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what actually comes out of this? And so I think the other thing, though, that happened was that I got super overwhelmed. You know, I think the rediscovery. People are like, what is this Black Lives Matter thing? This is amazing. How long has this thing been around?
Black women's no idea.
You know, and I just remember, like, I would get stuff and I'd turn over my phone. I'd be like, no, child, no, I don't want to do that again.
Yes.
Right? And we have a different story to tell now, you know? So I've been sitting in that a lot. But I also started thinking a lot more about my own emotional health.
Yes.
You know, and really saying no to stuff and being resolute in the no. Because I started to, like, have anxiety attacks, actually. Like, it was so odd because all that attention, again, brings up all this stuff for people, right? And y'all, I don't have to tell y'all. But it brings up a lot of stuff for people, and they lay it at your feet and go respond to it. I'm like, I'm just minding my own business. That's literally what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I'm trying to stay in my lane, and I'm trying to mind my business. Like, why are we prone to this? So it just forced me to, like, take it serious. And I'm so glad. You know, I started riding my bike all the time. I love me some Pelly. You know, so I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling like we're winning. We're winning. We are winning.
How do you know we're winning?
You know, girl, we have changed this conversation so many times.
Yes.
And I know we're winning because it's not just a cultural shift anymore.
Yes.
It's it is driving new conversations about rules and how the rules are being made and who's making the rules and what the rules are and why they are that way. And I know it because we've been in 8 years of these conversations now.
Right.
And that's a good thing. I think sometimes people feel like, you know, I've used this metaphor with you before, that like change is like a snack machine. So like you put your quarter in and you press like B6 and you get your Snickers bar. It's not like that. You know, there's lots of, sometimes the thing gets stuck. Sometimes it gives you the wrong thing. Sometimes you know.
All the shit falls out.
And you're like, ah, jackpot! Right?
It has been, I think, both equally powerful, invigorating, exhilarating, as well as devastating.
Yes.
Traumatizing.
Yes.
You know, from Melina being freaking having the cops show up to your home swatted and
with my kids,
with your kids, and getting to MDWay like calling me over and over again, and I missed the call, and I go on your Instagram, and I'm like getting the chills just thinking about it, to the freaking right attacking you and me, and us having to get the FBI.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
Like, you can't make this shit up.
No, you really cannot.
And I just think that, you know, in the midst of last year in particular, I did feel that feeling of like, we're here.
Right.
Like, we're in this moment and we have to stay in it and we have to press on. And we may not get this opening again. This time around, I felt more prepared on multiple fronts. I felt more prepared around, gaslighting around defund. I felt more prepared around our own security. We got the security stuff, both cyber and physical, on point this time around. I still think it's crazy that we used to travel alone.
Girl.
To tiny little towns. I just don't even understand.
Nobody cared.
Nobody
cared about us. Nobody cared about us.
I look back and I'm like at 2015, 2016, we were all just traveling alone, like not really,
not even checking in and saying I landed.
Exactly.
Right.
Just being like degular, like,
or looking up when you're in the airport line and seeing your face on Fox News,
right?
And being like, I'm not safe right now. What am I doing?
So that was different this time. That was different. And I also think, our larger movement had a collectivity to it that was different because we had been practicing together. I think, though, for me, the hardest moments have been the right-wing media machine. Just leveraging literally all its weight against me, against our movement, against BLM, the organization. I'm some weeks out now from a lot of the noise, so I have more perspective, right? While I was in it, I was in survival mode. But so many people who I've talked to, and I've obviously talked to the two of you ad nauseum about this, but it's because we're powerful, because we are winning. It's because we are threatening the establishment, we're threatening white supremacy. And I think it's this piece that you named earlier, it's not just a cultural shift anymore.
Right.
Like, things are changing for them. The reckoning has come to their doorstep in a way that they haven't had to reckon. And that is, they're clinging. They're clinging.
But Patrisse, get this. We are fucking with their money.
Yes.
How much money was that jail that you stopped?
$3.5 billion.
Okay.
Baby.
Billions of dollars.
With a B.
Billions of dollars. Right?
And so just thinking about, like, as Black organizers and how much we do, how much we give, and like the purpose of power. I think about the work that you're doing now, Melina, around ending police associations. And like, I feel scared saying that out loud, like, and I'm like, ooh, that means it's good. That demand, the demands that scare you.
Yeah.
And you're like,
those are the best ones.
Right? And you've been talking about this demand for years, but now is the political moment for it. And so I just want you to talk about, like, how did you and the team, like, where did that come from? Like, how has this moment helped shape this new kind of venture of the work?
Well, we won our last campaign. So we got Jackie Lacey's ass out of the DA's office. And we said, what we gonna do on Wednesdays now? And that actually is kind of true. And I just want to uplift this, that the reason that's kind of true is because for more than 3 years, almost 3.5 years, we were protesting every Wednesday outside of the Hall of Justice to try to oust this district attorney who had signed off on 634 murders at the hands of police in LA County, right? Wouldn't prosecute police no matter what. I think what we always have to remember, since you raised King, right, like, is he talks all the time about beautiful struggle, right? And so there's this struggle, but we had created this culture outside of Jackie Lacey's office, which was really beautiful. Like, it was beautiful and powerful, and there were songs, and there were people, and we had chants, and we had, our kids were there, and we missed each other. And there's a saying, there's nothing more dangerous than pretending as if you live at peace when you're really at war. And so there's a need to recognize who your opponent is. police associations bully and bribe elected officials. That's how they get these policies that give them like extra protections for murderous ass policies, right? Police associations, we were laughing about this before, pilfer the public purse, right? They steal our money, right? Yeah. They lobby for most major cities, give about 50% of their general fund to police when we know, like, here's what's stupid. We're paying more for police on public transportation than it would cost to give free public transportation when the police, all they're doing is enforcing fares.
That's right.
So just make the fares free. Then you don't need the police, right?
That's right.
And you could save money, right?
Y'all hear that?
So
I'm sorry, just let you all hear that.
One of the things that's also been birthed over the last year is not everybody who rose up is like part of, like formally a part of Black Lives Matter, but everybody's trying to figure out what they can contribute. So, you know, we're Black Lives Matter, and solidarity emerges organically. So Daniel Hernandez's family has never missed a week, right? And his mom is monolingual Spanish speaker, and we always close every family who speaks with say their names, right? So she'll go, diga su nombre, and we'll go, Daniel Hernandez. Diga su nombre, Daniel Hernandez. Diga su nombre, Daniel Hernandez. And then she'll go, Ashe.
Yes.
And it's like,
every time.
like, but why does that make me it makes me cry. It does make me cry. And it's just this culture. We got these white folks, radical ass white folks, who come out with wagons full of snacks. Like hot Cheetos and shit. It's dope. And then the kids come out with hot Cheetos.
Not the hot Cheetos.
My daughter takes public transportation because it's hot Cheetos in a fucking wagon. She's like, I'm coming.
This is amazing.
And so I'm just grateful for like all the ways, and I've drank a little bit of champagne. But like how you said you needed to learn how to say no, and for me it's like I always say yes, and both are right. Right, both of them are right.